You want to still come with me then? I don't have information.
So still have things to do. You'll be fine.
It's pretty fun to be here again. I can do that easy. I'm already.
That was supposed to be Chris. Good band. Oh, there you go.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call meeting order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Eli Seeley.
Here.
Sarah Ansenson.
Here.
Pat Beckett.
Here.
Will Wolke. Larry Rohr.
Here.
Art Schott.
Here.
Mike Tiedemann.
Here. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as published.
Motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, motion on the table in a second to adopt the amended agenda with the addition of the Bridget Tweets Beresford High School Ag presentation. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from August 5th, 2024.
Motion to adopt the minutes from August 5th, 2024.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the minutes from August 5th, 2024. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to do a couple of quick things here. We got a full house. We're going to have to start charging admission here.
We do.
Yeah. So throughout the summer, we've taken an opportunity to recognize a couple of different sports teams, a few individuals here and there. Mr. Tars Mullenix, there's Mullenix over here, right there. And what I realized in just the other day was that when I talked to Ms. Jane Norling is that she came to the last city council meeting and she talked very glowingly about some of our summer readers, so we wanted to take an opportunity to recognize some of you. So I'm going to bring my readers along because I'm reading. So when I call your name, Jane, if you want to join me, if you want to come up, I don't have anything fancy to hand you, but I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate everything that you did. I appreciate everything that our award-winning librarian does for the community, and I think when you guys, as readers, are those that are going to do best in school, and you're going to do best in our community to give back to the community, so I appreciate it very much. So I've got some names. I'm going to go ahead and go through those. We're going to start with the youngest, and then we'll go to the oldest. In the pre-K division, Wesley and Ted Gordon, 2,780 minutes. Are they here? Okay, all right. In the 6-year-old category, Annie Bird with 3,244 minutes. And then in second place, Wesley Hansen, 1,437.
She's on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
She'll maybe come up with her sister.
Oh, sisters. When if your sister comes up, will you come up then? Okay. All right, the 7-year-old category. Paxton Sales, I recognize that. Last easy, sir. Come on up. I recognize baseball player. And 3,490 minutes. And then Memphis Nair. Congratulations. Good job, buddy. Second place, Memphis Nair, 3,072 minutes. Congratulations. Way to go. Good job. Thank you very much. Sit over here by Pax. All right. In the 8-year-old category, Audrey Bird, 4,615 minutes. Congratulations. Great job. Good job reading. Good job. Good job. All right, second place in that same category, Ben Bergen, 1,315 minutes. Nope, no Ben. All right, we'll move on to the next one. 9-year-old Keziah Schomburg, 7,127 minutes. Congratulations. Awesome job. Way to go. All right, second place in that category, Ryder Sales, another sales, 3,417 minutes. Congratulations, sir. Good job. Way to go. Good job. Stand over there by your brother. All right, 10-year-old Emma Cahoon, 3,764 minutes. All right. And in second place, Gabby Winia, 1,065 minutes. Congratulations, 11-year-old. Looks like Anna Grace Kelderman.
Yeah.
Anna, congratulations, good job, way to go. She read 3,477 minutes. And then Zoe Bartlett. Zoe, congratulations, 1,470 minutes. Congratulations, awesome job, way to go, guys. All right, and in our teen category, Abby Cahoon, okay, 38 books. Looks like Abby's not with us. Oh, there you are, Abby. Snuck in. Congratulations. Good job. Way to go. Full books, okay?
That's in just 6 weeks.
Jeez. Some of you baseball players better be listening here, okay?
We're not talking 6 years.
And in the second place in the team category, Ohala Bartlett. Yep. Ohala. Congratulations. Good job. Way to go. Yep. And last one's Terry Schomburg, 28 books. Terry, sir, congratulations. Thank you very much. And second place in the adult category, looks like Tiffany Cruzy, 15 books. Krause, okay. All right, so a couple of pictures.
Yeah, this one here, please. How about I sign these little ones? So up in the middle here. Yeah, thanks. Perfect. That's what I was like. Yeah, thank you.
All right, congratulations, guys. Thank you. And again, award-winning librarian, we say that all too often, but it means a lot because we have a fantastic resource in our community. She does programs like this to keep people engaged throughout the summer. Thank you guys for participating. Make sure you tell your classmates. Okay? You guys start school on Thursday, so tell them you want something. Take care and have a great evening. Yep, absolutely. Mike and Jeff move in because. All right, Mr. Savvy, Mr. Silverbolt, Mr. Roseheim, you'll join me? Yep. Okay, so I'll bring you gentlemen up in just a few minutes, but for those of you guys who don't know, we have multiple levels of baseball in town. So 12 and under youth baseball, we have basically every 2 years, 8U, 10U, 12U. When you get older, you enter into a category where you play 14 and under baseball, you play 16 and under baseball. If you play in the American Legion, they have a 17 and under division, junior Legion, and then they also have what's called Senior Legion, or 19 and under. So our group of gentlemen here represents the 14 and under team from Beresford, Alcester, Hudson, and we're the Black Sox. We played just under 40 games this summer. We won more than we lost, okay? We had some great runs, but we got close to the end, and when we got to the state tournament, when we actually got probably about 3 weeks, almost a month out from the state tournament, we realized our partners to the south in Dakota Valley, who were supposed to host the state tournament, were put in a tough spot by the flooding that we experienced in June, the same tournament that obviated us holding the Jack Lawrence. So our community reached out to Dakota Valley and volunteered to host the state tournament. We stepped forward, we said, hey, as a neighbor, we can help you in this instance. We gave them about a week. They came back to us. They let us know that, hey, you guys can host the state tournament. You're now the host for the state tournament, so you're an automatic qualifier. So we went to regions. We played probably the toughest region in the state, and we played a very tough Dakota Valley team, a very tough Lennox team, and we didn't win. But as the automatic qualifier, because we host, we went to the tournament. We showed up at the tournament, and that first game, very proud, played Del Rapids, right? Baseball town, multiple state championships. How'd you guys do? You won, right? Didn't just win, you won big, right? Good job. Okay, second game, a little tough, right? Played a Madison team that was kind of like a buzzsaw, right? But part of being athletes is that you have to realize not everything's going to go your way all the time. In the third game, which was a game against Elk Point, who also has a baseball pedigree, they won the Senior Legion State Championship this year. Very good town. Our team showed up, persevered, and they won. So that was the third place game in state. So as an automatic qualifier, we finished third in the state. That's pretty awesome. There were between A and B division in VFW baseball. there's about 60 teams. I think I'm overestimating a little bit, but there's somewhere between about 50 and 60 teams in the state of South Dakota. So you guys are number 3 in the A division, the bigger division. More important than that, as representatives of our community, as we were being presented with our 3rd place trophy, we also came to understand that we received the Louis 30 Sportsmanship Award for the state baseball tournament. So that is an award by the State Umpires Association. So Mr. Mark Zalmy, who's the state umpire, director of state umpires, was at the tournament, and he came and was at the tournament throughout the weekend, and he realized that our team, our coaches, our community, those that were at the field that were helping, were very deserving of the Sportsmanship Award. So the reason that I invited our team in tonight was to recognize them not only for 3rd place at state, which is pretty awesome, but also because we won the Louis 30 Sportsmanship Award for VFW 14A State Baseball Championship. Mouthful. So I want to thank the coaches, because I think you guys did an awesome job. Thanks. Here, let's bring this up, and then gentlemen, if you'll join me, let's see if we can get a picture. William J. Radigan. So everybody knows who William J. Radigan is, right? Vermillion Bill? Yep. All right. So, all right. And there's two gentlemen that are in this picture that are going to get a, they like baseball so much that the jersey's still dirty, so, here, Evan. Yep.
Camera's gonna focus on it.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations. Hey, look at that. That makes me happy, actually. Yeah, I want to see it. The sun dirty, I don't know about that. Yeah. Okay, I think we've found a couple of budding future politicians that want to stick around and be part of mayhem. All right, next item on the agenda, visitors to be heard. We'll wait for it. Good afternoon, Chelsea.
Portion,
okay. Yeah, if you want to let them fill in, it's completely up to you, Shania, however you're most comfortable.
Okay, so this is mostly just informational. We have started to reform the Chamber of Commerce in Beresford. So just kind of wanted to let everybody know. There's a group of like 10 of us so far. Just kind of started, had a few meetings. So just kind of wanted to be here at the City Council meeting and let you guys know. Our purpose for now, so far, is we believe as a small town, we create the community we want. In order to do that, the Chamber's goal is to bridge the gap between the local businesses of Beresford and the general public by becoming a platform to share information, generate special events, and networking opportunities, as well as supporting current businesses and encouraging new entrepreneurs. Kind of like our goal. We just kind of wanted to be informational. We have a few questions, I guess, more than anything. And then some upcoming events that we want to talk about too. So, you want to talk about the next item?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. So we, it's kind of the same stuff that they have been doing over the past. We just want to kind of feed more into it, make it more welcome and known. So like the Christmas event with the tree, the fall festival. There never really was a fall festival. We want to build up that.
Yeah, we're kind of like enhancing some stuff.
But we just wanted to inquire about the Christmas tree. And make sure it's still going to be down here and stuff like that. We wanted to kind of build off the Christmas lighting that we've done in the past. So we heard rumor it wasn't going to be there. So we're just wondering about the Christmas tree. And we just wanted to let you all in that we're just trying to keep doing events downtown here since there's so many businesses popping up.
Try to do more of the floats.
Yes. Yeah, so we kind of wanted to get the parade going again. But, so that's just general information. We just want to keep that going. And so just wanted to pre-inform about that. And then our other question we'd like to address is the billboard. That says play stand.
Yeah, it's the Beresford
The
welcome.
Beresford welcome billboard on the interstate coming from the south, right? So we just were asking about that and what's that all about. Now that there's a bunch of new businesses and stuff, we just want to know how that's updated, who owns that stuff like that. So that is all.
Anybody knows anything about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you posed a couple of questions. So Christmas tree, as far as I know, we're on tap for Christmas tree. I think the events were largely driven by Joanna in the past, I think the chamber. I do know last year, in the days leading up, there were some open-ended questions about, who's doing what and whatnot, but I think it came together. Maybe it wasn't quite as, and I know some years weather does play a role in the beautiful state of South Dakota, but I think that's the plan. I don't think we've ever had any problems with floats per se, or a different event or different vehicles. If there needs to be something done from the perspective of closing the street, we always do that in advance with through the city council. To your second question about signs coming into town.
The billboard on the interstate,
Nothing to do with.
does anybody own that?
It's owned by the city of Beresford. So, it was redone probably about 5 years ago. And it cost about $4,000, so. No one's approached me at all about changing it, so. If it wants to be changed, it's just a matter of who's gonna pay for it, so.
You're thinking there's perhaps maybe thinking about sprucing it up, thinking about different language, different something.
Yes, I know my husband played a big part, Robert Dent, I don't know if he played a big part in the parade and all that stuff, and of course, so a lot of it went to the wayside when he passed away, but the sign itself, I feel like we need something more, I don't know, updated to bring.
Like how wide is it, but like, yeah, we have so many businesses.
Something to bring people to the downtown area too, and promote our downtown. We have a lot of great businesses downtown that need to be promoted, and they're not getting promoted. We just, I don't know, I feel like we need some billboards on the interstate that help promote our city to bring some new people into town.
Yeah, because now we have food, ice cream, shops.
So we can be a destination, basically. And I know that's something my husband's felt strongly about. Unfortunately, I couldn't jump on that bandwagon when he passed because I had other things to deal with. So, but now I'm trying to help these younger girls and trying to back them up and support them because I would like to see that happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, our business has been in town for 10 years, so we've supported the county, I feel, so.
And I think
Sorry.
that's just our whole goal, is to just support Beresford, supporting Beresford, and try to share information on where everybody is, who's open, what's happening, and just try to be cohesive in a community. It's kind of our goal, and come up with some ideas.
Yeah, just kind of update everything.
Yeah,
More so.
there's a lot of new, I mean, that's a super unique part right now, is there's a lot of new and young entrepreneurs that started up, so.
And so many
Try to capitalize on
families in this town.
Yeah, a lot of families.
Yep.
So,
What's your primary communication vehicle? Social media, network?
We're gonna be running a social media, so probably a Facebook and an Instagram, where we'll kind of collaborate with local businesses to post on that, and events.
You do the website.
Yeah.
And a website.
Yep,
and then
hold a directory to possibly create like a brochure for events that are happening seasonally, winter events, to spring events, to summer events. Because so much happens in a year, so it's kind of nice to quarter that down a little bit, to be more detailed. So.
Can you come to us with some ideas of what should be on the sign?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of why we wanted to come here, just to figure out.
Yeah, we weren't sure who
I
all
didn't
the
even know
events
if
are.
this was
Yeah. And that's kind of our goal, to go back together in a meeting and figure out what would be best for the community going forward.
Once we have that, we can get some
pricing and get, figure out where we're at.
There's a couple of different groups too that I think would be worthy to engage. So one is an organization that's part of our infrastructure in the town, Beresford Economic Development Corporation. So they don't meet all too often, but they hold a strategic position in guiding some of our efforts as it relates to what are we going to do to really look at the future state. What is it that we're going to do to be able to attract young families? And some of the things that you're talking about, those are the things that people want to hear, they want to see. They want to know that there's an ice cream shop that's down the street. There's coffee wherever the coffee truck is. And so, and then the other organization is we're entering into an agreement. I don't know that have we entered into an agreement with the Sioux Metro Growth Alliance?
Yes, I'm a member of them now for this year, and next year we'll pay our dues.
There's an organization that is works with communities like ours on growth. Sioux Metro Growth Alliance, you can probably, if you just Google them, you'll find some information. They came and gave us a presentation, and they work with several communities in our area that are similarly sized, and they hope to create some of the intended outcomes that you guys are aiming at. So I think paying attention to what they may be able to try to help us with. Some of it's just exposure, not only to businesses or ideas, but just exposure beyond kind of the, because if we're just bouncing ideas off of people in Beresford, then that's one thing. If we're able to get that message out to a broader network, then I think it would be more well received.
And I already do a lot of that. I'll share a lot of the other business pages on my page because I have I have people from all over that come into my stores, so I do my best doing that, but
Yeah. And
it'd
sometimes,
just be helpful if we had some billboards on the interstate too, because.
Yeah, people are coming in from Canada.
Yeah.
I have had 2 people from Canada. One today, a group today.
the power of social media, we can't underestimate it. Google reviews,
Yeah.
Google Maps,
Yeah.
Pictures. What South Dakota Public Broadcasting does for us, not only on the Beresford, the episode that was published on the web, but also the some of the other information that's put out there that really creates a spotlight on the community. And I think part of what you talked about, which is I don't know that I or we have the answer for, but we know that the magnetism of this community right now is pulled towards 29 when you talk about economic growth and development. Something that makes downtown attractive so that you can get people off the interstate. That's $1 million question. And we know that, when I was in Viborg the other night, and Viborg's at crossroads of 2 smaller roads, but Viborg is clearly centered on the intersection of those 2 roads. And when you think about that from a people traveling through the community perspective, and what they offer, they're in a unique position. We're a little bit different. We can't ship 29 over here through the middle of town, but billboards and marketing and leveraging social media and things that people pay attention to.
That's our goal. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that kind of had you guys
So do you
in the know as well.
Yep, absolutely. Do you think that the chamber's changing? We're just as timely as it can be. Mr. Simons and I were just talking about the chamber a few minutes ago. Joanne will still hold a role, or is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. She just had a meeting.
She kind of stated, she's kind of advising us basically.
Okay, good.
She's trying to push us forward and still be a part of it.
Because I know the organization's kind of done, it's
Yeah.
expanded, contracted, and I think having some fresh blood is a good thing. So,
Helping you out, yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
But well.
I know Old Fashioned Saturday this year was great. So, and that was a huge event that the chamber was a big part of. So hopefully we can build off of that.
Yeah, next one's the Fall Festival.
Yep, October 27th, Sunday, October 27th is our goal for a fall festival of some sort. So each kind of our businesses have little things planned out downtown. So trunk or treat is going to be at 4 or 5. We got to figure out all the details, but just kind of wanted to let you guys know that's our next upcoming town date.
One thing we talked about on the community level is a community-wide events calendar, and one thing that I need to push forward on, because I think if we expose some of those community-wide events, I think it would be a good thing, because people can see those on.
Yeah.
Share on information.
Definitely bench. Anything else to add? Thank you for your
Yep,
time.
thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Appreciate it very much. Next on the agenda, I see Bridget Tweet's name, but I don't.
I'm here for Bridget.
Got it, okay, all right. Usually I hear her before I see her. That was a nightmare.
Where do you guys want to sit? Just bring.
Sure.
Okay. So, I'm Tricia Vogelai, and I am the Assistant Advisor for the FFA. And this is the Ag Issues Team that will be representing South Dakota at the National FFA Convention. This team is presenting the pros and cons of eminent domain without coming to any conclusions. And please feel free, once they're done, to ask any questions. They're working on memorizing, and we really appreciate you guys letting us come here tonight.
So as you guys go through, just make sure you introduce yourself, and we'll listen, and then if we have some questions at the end, try to help you out. So when will you go to nationals?
October 22nd through the 26th.
Will you have competition? There are a couple of different events between now and then where you'll be prepping.
Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
This town hall meeting will now come to order. Our main order of business for the day is the topic of eminent domain. The question being discussed today, is eminent domain fair for all parties involved? Today we will hear from several different local views on the topic. Does anyone have any information they would properly like to share?
My name is Kayla Jensen, and I'm a local homeowner. Homes are the hardest for many people, including myself. When there is a project that would benefit the public and that requires your property, you may receive an offer to sell your property. The offer various companies may give you for your home can be offensively low. Let's take a look into the new Veterans Parkway that's going up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This will be a 6-lane highway that will run from I-29 all the way up to the east side of Sioux Falls to meet back up with I-90. This new section of Veterans Parkway will get dangerously close to people's beloved homes. This is a huge safety concern for many homeowners, which leads me to believe eminent domain is not fair for all parties involved.
Hi, my name is Kylie Mockler, and I'm the manager for the CO2 pipeline my company is trying to implement through South Dakota and Iowa. Over the years, I've worked with members of many communities to bring the future of pipeline transportation in the United States to life. An author from the website Energy Transfer says that affordable and abundant energy transported by pipelines also translates to lower gasoline costs. With that being said, I believe that the idea of eminent domain is a necessary entity to push this process forward.
Hello, I am Carly Chris, and I'm a local business owner who has witnessed the unfair use of eminent domain, which has led to the condemnation of many properties in my area. This can have an extremely adverse effect on business owners who lease commercial property, causing them to potentially lose substantial profits because of the loss of their business's location. This leads many business owners to call an experienced but costly eminent domain attorney to discuss their rights. For these reasons, I believe that eminent domain is not fair to everyone who's involved.
Hi, I'm Ethan Howe, and I'm a project manager with the Department of Transportation. I am responsible for building, maintaining, and upgrading the statewide transportation systems to ensure residents can travel safely and easily with designing new roads or expanding an existing transportation system. The DOT will identify the property it deems necessary to acquire for the project. If the private owner holds that property, the DOT may obtain the property through eminent domain. But the agency must follow specific conditions outlined in the state law during this process. On another note, according to the Federal Highway Administration, when acquiring private property for the project of the right-of-way, certain federal regulations must be followed to ensure owners are paid just compensation.
My name is Lucas Anderson, and I'm a fourth-generation farmer fighting against the Summit Carbon Pipeline passing through my land. Summit is currently planning to trench through a total of 20 acres of my operated farm ground. If this pipeline passes and goes through my farm ground, it will affect the soil for at least another 3 years. 2 years ago, I agreed to pass the Northwestern Energy Pipeline through my farmable ground, and the ground still doesn't perform as it did before. A study from Iowa State found crop yields in the right-of-way were reduced by an average of 25% for soybeans and 15% for corn during the first and second crop seasons. compared to undisturbed fields. Because I value my land and its quality, I am not in favor of the pipeline nor eminent domain.
Good evening, everyone. I am Grace Norling with Poet Ethanol Systems of Hudson, South Dakota. The transportation of CO2 out of our plant currently relies on costly and dangerous trucking companies. Our company would much rather send the CO2 out through a pipeline in a safer and more cost-effective manner. Eminent domain is a necessary evil and a great tool we can use to accomplish this task in a fair manner for all parties involved.
Eminent domain is a complex issue that requires careful consideration of all factors. Now that we're all introduced, who would like to start expanding on tonight's topic?
I would like to start expanding on the conversation. As I stated at the beginning, I'm really concerned about the safety factors of eminent domain in both the pipeline and roadway perspective. My house is dangerously close to a new highway coming into Sioux Falls, South Dakota. According to Keloland News, a 70,000-pound semi takes 650 feet to stop at 65 miles per hour. My house is only 120 feet from the public right-of-way. These semis and cars have a chance to end up in my home if an accident were to happen.
I totally agree, Kayla. The safety of our community should be first and foremost. In South Dakota, the Department of Public Safety reports that over 5,000 semi-truck crashes have occurred in 2024. This number has significantly increased from the year before. The new carbon pipeline leading out of our plant would drop our need to transport CO2 by truck by nearly 70%. Less trucks on the road mean less truck accidents and a safer driving environment. Being able to use eminent domain to construct this pipeline is necessary for our public safety.
I strongly agree that our community safety is tremendously important when thinking about eminent domain and its effects. As a business owner, we do, however, need to take into account the fact that customer traffic is extremely important for businesses. If the business was in a prime location, it may have to move to an area with less customer traffic and could lose business. For instance, at the TF Fit located just south of Sioux Falls, a prime location for customers, businesses are being relocated due to the ongoing construction of the new road called Veterans Parkway. This negatively affects the local businesses, causing them to essentially have to start over in the building and operating of their business.
As the project manager, I oversee the project of the Veterans Parkway, connecting I-29 to I-90 on the east side of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Across the nation, the transportation of goods and services is vital to our economy. Large semi-trucks cause constant stress to oil and gravel roads in the country that don't get as much maintenance as often as highways and interstates. Veterans Parkway allows trucks to travel more efficiently and avoid roads often used by our local farmers. This would make these country roads safer, less busy, and more easily maintainable.
Speaking of eminent domain and keeping roads in proper shape, with this pipeline coming through our local farmland, it almost doubles the travel on my local gravel road every day, which will destroy the road and my fields after rainfall, or if we get put into another drought situation, it will add dust. Not only will it ruin the roads, but will also affect the compaction of my field, as well as leaving deep tire tracks, making it much more difficult to complete field work.
9 times out of 10, I've heard this argument be made when farmers start to question the quality of their land after the pipeline is placed into their field. Surprisingly, adding a pipeline to your land can help protect it from future projects like Highway 18 near Canton, South Dakota. The widening of this road has led to the relocation of many landowners' houses, barns, sheds, and other necessary farmland utilities. In spots where a pipeline was installed, the road had to move around the land in order to keep distance from the pipeline. This protected the landowner's property while also subsidizing the money lost from that section of land.
But the topsoil dirt is heavily disturbed. It will never perform like it did before. A 2021 Iowa State University study of pipeline construction states that extensive soil disturbance from construction activities had adverse effects on soil physical properties, resulting from the mixing of topsoil with backfill brought in for filling pipeline trenches. This is what I'm worried is going to happen once again to our local farmers.
Another pressing matter is the topic of air pollution. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, heavy-duty vehicles like the trucks used to transfer our CO2 comprise only about 10% of all vehicles on the road, yet they generate more than 25% of global warming emissions, 45% of nitric oxide emissions, and nearly 60% of direct PM2 pollutants. Using a pipeline instead of these trucks would have a huge impact on our carbon footprint. When talking about eminent domain, the biggest thing to keep in mind is what's best for the greater good, and this pipeline is important for the health of our environment.
What about the people's land you would have to go through to put in a pipeline?
Pipeline companies who use eminent domain to go through a landowner's property must provide the owner with proper compensation for the ground. As a rule, the pipeline company will agree to pay a set dollar amount per linear foot of pipeline that will be laid on the property. This amount typically resembles what the property included in the easement would sell for, if the land was sold outright to the pipeline company.
Even if the company pays me for the land, they don't cover the emotional effects. For instance, at the T-exit near Sioux Falls, eminent domain was used to move many shops and other businesses away from the road, and many had to close down. Although they were paid for their land, the emotional trauma of pouring their heart and soul into a business and then having it ripped away from them is horrifying. According to a study at UC Berkeley, 72% of entrepreneurs reported mental health concerns. As eminent domain continues to take place across the U.S., this alarming number exponentially increases, especially in cases where businesses are having to relocate. In addition, certain relocation costs are not covered. Ordinary costs of living, running, or operating a business in the new location, interest on a loan to cover moving expenses, or the cost of finding a replacement home or business site.
If this pipeline comes through my property and it's not useful to me as a community member, then why should I give you my land? According to Cato.org, 3 to 4 million Americans, most of them ethnic minorities, have been forcibly displaced from their homes as a result of urban renewal since World War II. Majority of these people did not benefit from the use of eminent domain on these projects. In San Francisco, 4,000 people living below the property level were relocated to new neighborhoods so that hotels and business sectors could be developed. It is easy to see how eminent domain can at times be seen as an unfair practice that targets the poor, certain minorities, and other specific demographics. As Grace stated earlier, eminent domain is all about the greater good of the people. Even if the pipeline through your land doesn't directly affect you as a landowner, the effects come back in the long run. For over a decade, the U.S. government has been quietly funding the capture of CO2 that is ultimately used to drill greater amounts of oil. An author from the website, The Washington Post, said that the oil will be drilled anyway, and that this process can help companies learn how to capture CO2 more efficiently, helping the environment and lowering the cost of fossil fuels.
This is a very complex topic we are discussing this evening, and there are many parts to each side. What are the rules involving the regulations of eminent domain?
Under Codified Law 46.8.1.2, locations of routes restricted states no routes acquired under the provisions of this chapter may be located within 250 feet of dwelling house or other buildings on the premises or across any non-commercial orchard or garden without written consent of the owner. This section does not apply to works located in the public right-of-way or water distribution systems as defined.
As a business owner, I know my rights. The taking clause, a subsection of the Fifth Amendment, provides protection against the taking of property by the government without proper compensation. And civillaw.com adds that the government can only acquire private land if it is reasonably shown that the property is to be used for public purpose only. Federal, state, and local governments can seize people's properties under eminent domain laws as long as the property owner is compensated at fair market value. Therefore, I need to be fairly compensated for my property in order for eminent domain to be justified.
The final rule we will be bringing up today is the right of eminent domain for application or conveyance of water for beneficial purposes. This takes us back to my last talk about whether eminent domain is useful to all people affected by it. This law states that application of water to beneficial use is a public use in the public interest and a benefit to the public, which means if the water pipeline is being placed, it is to be used for the public good, then eminent domain can be used.
Now knowing these rules, are there any final remarks that need to be placed before this meeting is adjourned?
Today I shared with you the cons of roadway factors with the use of eminent domain and the safety factors that can not only affect my family but those impacted by eminent domain. In our conversation today, I articulated the pros of how my company can work with farmers and business owners to execute eminent domain to complete the pipeline project. I explained my duties and how the pipeline will benefit the nation.
Today, I presented to you the cons of the condemnation of property laws through eminent domain. Business owners need an adequate amount of compensation, or eminent domain is not fair to all parties.
I indicated to you today the Department of Transportation has rules, laws, and factors that affect its work while using eminent domain. These laws are looked at to determine whether eminent domain is necessary to complete a project.
I expressed the cons to you today. The concern in the farmland when eminent domain causes disruptive entities to pass through. Soil disturbances, increasing traffic during constructions, and the future of my farm could be affected through using eminent domain.
This evening, I stated the pro side of the eminent domain argument and brought up positive effects of CO2 pipelines and its benefits. including decreasing transportation of CO2 on semis, eliminating a carbon footprint on our nation.
It is now up to you to decide if eminent domain is fair for all parties involved. I properly declare this town hall meeting adjourned.
Excellent work. Okay, so Lucas, you talked about crops. What about livestock and pipelines? Any new studies about that?
I guess we didn't specifically look into it when writing this argument, but I'm sure that is a very good topic that we.
I mean, dairy cattle, beef cattle would probably respond differently if they're displaced at certain times of the year.
Yeah, and a lot of the crops do, I mean, for us having dairy, our crops are directly fed to our cattle, and so there's definitely a good correlation.
And what was your yield in bushels per acre before and after?
It was.
It's a test.
25% for soybeans and 15%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, when it gets disrupted like that.
Is it a one-time payment or is it every year? For the pipe passing through your land?
I believe it's one-time payment.
One time only?
Yep.
And
But
they have
then,
access to it forever.
yeah, because they can go back and fix it or put a
Or
pipe
they
on
can
right
take
next to it.
So they're granted an easement after the fact. Once
Yeah.
once eminent domain is applied, then they, okay.
We have that land.
So if they take this much land and they'll use this much with one pipeline, 15 years later, they can come and use the other part and just do whatever they want.
They'll go through, they'll put a pipeline in, and then whenever they want to come back, they can put another pipeline right next to it. Because one, they already have that land, so they have to go and get somebody else's land. And then they're not putting a pipeline here, putting a pipeline there, like, it's just honestly.
That makes sense because we received a presentation about water and water distribution at the last council meeting. And they talked about redundancy and if we would ever go to the second phase or third phase of a water distribution program, it would create redundancy on the same line rather than
run a parallel
yeah,
line.
parallel.
Yeah.
So,
You mentioned Veterans Parkway. Is the speed limit 65 or will it be 55?
I think they said it's going to be 55.
Okay, because you referenced 65. It wouldn't change the impact for the example you're given, but I didn't think it was going to be 65, so.
Yep, I think it's 55.
Okay.
And your question with farmland and the production or whatever, I would definitely recommend that there's easements attached to any contract at a later date. That means if you got 10, 20% this year and you're 20% next year, I would have the lifetime of contract where you get a review on every year and each and every year with the money. What I recommend is good lawyers.
Yeah, but that'll add up to, and many farmers probably wouldn't be able to.
Well, that's where the state and the government should step up and take care of their people.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your fault, it's the state and the government, because there's a lot of players in a lot of these contracts, a lot of these deals. It's, you know, small stuff's a couple thousand, bigger stuff's millions. When you get way up there, it's billions of dollars. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people's hands in that money. And, you know, they gotta, if they have people like you, the average homeowner or the farmer or whatever, you gotta know how to play the system, and that's where, you know, public relations come in. Your senators, your congressmen, and you're not stuck. You can always file appeals all the way up to the Supreme Court, so it's not a one-way fits all. They make you believe that, but don't kid yourself. If you're a fighter or you know the law, you got way more options than you think. There's no such thing as a dead end, never. You can always modify it to a point, either with time or money or energy. But the main thing is that whatever eminent domain is going to happen is it helps everybody. And that's where everybody's got to put their 2 cents in, because otherwise it ain't going to work right. And like you said, everybody's got a certain amount of time, money, and energy, and some people just don't have the time or the energy or the money. That's where your politicians try to get, you know, lobbying a little bit, talk to them in your districts if it's at all possible. But you did a great presentation tonight. I was real impressed.
When are you going to the, when's the national?
October 22nd.
Okay.
I got one question. I have a thought on the difference between the government doing the condemnation versus a private company doing that condemnation. Did you have to talk about that?
We got asked that. We presented on Tuesday to the county commissioners, and they asked us that.
And?
So I brought up how when the, government looks down on your land, they can easily just say, I'm gonna take that land. It doesn't matter, it's not gonna affect me, but I'm gonna take your land. Whereas like a local, it might be your neighbor, you have a little bit better connection to that person. So they know what's going on, have a little bit more sympathy, than the government might have taking your land.
I figured someone's gonna ask that question.
Complex topic, that's how you let off, so. Yeah. Any other questions from the council?
Very timely.
Yeah. Thanks again, we appreciate your time.
Good work.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you, boys, for staying.
So we stayed.
They stayed just to listen.
Now, did they learn and did they retain it?
I'm sure they did.
All right, next item on the agenda, committee mayor reports, just a couple of quick updates. AED reassignment, we obtained 2 AEDs, automated external defibrillators, and this has been about 6 months ago. One was deployed at the golf course, signage is up, it's there, it hasn't had to be used. The second one is intended for the north ball fields because we will end up with large crowds there. It has yet to be deployed. Jerry and I spoke the other day, we're going to retask that AED that's currently at the fire station to be used by the ambulance service until the ambulance service is going to purchase a new AED this spring. Once they come in, we'll take one of those 2 to deploy at the north field before ball games start in the spring. The reason that the ambulance crew would use an AED is because it's much lighter than their current piece of equipment that they handle, which is in Light Pack 15. That's about 45 pounds. The AED's less than 10. It's 5 or 6 pounds.
So could they take that in with them, in the residence?
Yep. So if we know that, based on our law enforcement colleagues will very often kind of give us a heads up. If we know there's an arrest or some of their CPR progress, we can move quite a bit quicker and easier with the AED than we can with the Light Pack 15. Childcare, a couple of different items that have happened there. I have a survey prepared for distribution that I've worked with Dr. Emma Johnson from the University of South Dakota on. I hope to have that out on the airwaves this week to assess not only the need, but also ask a few additional questions about how, what would people be willing to pay, and some of the other questions that will help guide the effort. There is a grant meeting that I'm holding with the Beresford Area Foundation is part of a larger foundation group, and I'm going to meet with them to discuss their grant timelines and look at what potential options might exist. Because after meeting with a couple of child care providers in the community, including Ms. Carrie Peterson, who provided a wealth of information after 20, almost 6 years of experience in that space, it's almost more complex than I originally anticipated, because it's really, you can't throw money at the problem. You have to find people that are willing to work long hours and difficult work. It's work that requires, you have to operate in accordance with how the rules are established, the laws are established. It's difficult, and it's not a money-making entity. Parents are fairly specific about when they want to start working, when they don't. So the grants we're going to apply for, we would look at helping to provide jump start to both those that are looking at starting in-home and or potentially drawing up some business plans with a few others that are looking to start daycares. We have a couple of different options for starting or restarting daycares. Nick Gangler, who owns the Taekwondo studio, he has open space during the day, would offer his space up in a business agreement. The Methodist Church has said that they don't want any part of managing a daycare, but they would potentially entertain using their space again. And then we've also found out that there's a few additional spots that may also lend their space. So we'll continue to march, try to find opportunities, and try to provide updates to the council on a regular basis. The last item here is Dr. Dagan reached out, and they're holding a strategic planning session on the 23rd of September. I would like to take 2 council members with me. If you're interested, just send me an email with a short statement about why you'd like to be part of this strategic planning session. And then we'll make a decision and we'll attend. I believe it's only part of the session, but they're going to do, the school board will do some work on their part, and then we'll participate and look at where the community and the school board could partner when we look at future state vision and what are the things that we can do in order to be able to best put our school system in the right spot. Any questions?
We have reached out with that on numerous occasions prior to the last couple, so. I don't know, didn't feel like it really landed on willing ears at the time.
You talking about school board?
Yeah.
Yeah, this time, I mean, they reached out to us, so I think that's good because it represents a change in the.
Well, they did at one point to us last time too. But I know there's new school board representation that's interested in doing more partnering with the city, so.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item number 8 on the agenda, which is Elaine Johnson.
So in your council packet is a letter from the Department of Legislative Audit, letting us know that they have accepted our audit from the year-end 2023. And so there is a copy. Everyone received a copy. A little light reading. They, on page 3, there were no current audit findings, so yay me. So we just need a motion to accept the 2023 audit.
Should I make a motion to accept 2023 audit report?
Second.
Motion and a second on the table to accept the 2023 audit. Any further discussion?
Should Elaine read this out loud to us?
If you want to have a meeting till 12:30, we can. Yeah. Congratulations.
We post that on the website
Yep,
too.
it's already
so
on the
website, so anyone that wants to read it.
Yep.
It's a public record.
Yeah. And then also I share it with US Bank too. They have all of our loans, so we share it with them too.
So business partners. Okay, fantastic. All right, so no further discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries for 2023 audit.
Is our credit rating based off this? The city credit rating for loans and such?
I think that's through like more of your, yeah, I don't think we have.
And they rate the bonds that
Yeah.
are used, and that does depend on the cash flows and
Okay.
the history that
Yeah.
would show ability to repay, and ours are always very highly rated, so they should get the best, among the best rates.
Okay, thank you.
Financials?
So, Gina, July's financials, there's a report on everybody's desk there. A couple items that came through in July. We paid Dakota Construction $24,000 for the start of the new telephone storage building. I don't know if you guys have driven by there or not, but it's part telephone storage and part police department garage. Looking nice. Come along. The golf course purchased a Eagle Light 5-gang picker from P&W Golf Supply for $4,400. The police department put 4 new tires on the 2023 Ford Interceptor. Proform fabricated some scoreboard uprights for the Gracie Nelson Ball Field, so $8,810. And we paid $316,187 to Siteworks for the Sager sewer system. So those are some of the out of the ordinary payments in July. I also wanted to mention that our water and sewer does not look the greatest on our report, but that is due because we are paying bills in 1 month, but we are not getting reimbursed for them until the next month, so it doesn't look the greatest. Just take a little time to get the invoices in and reimbursed. That is all I have.
Need a motion? Should I make a motion for July 2024 financial report? Elaine Johnson stated did a great job.
Second.
Motion second on the table to accept the July 2024 financial report. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Financial report is approved. And last is a quote for purchase of new furniture for City Hall.
So I've been working with Innovative probably since January, if not before. And after going back and forth numerous times, there are, I printed just 3 copies of just the layout of the new City Hall. And then the quote for the furniture, which is a South Dakota State contract quote. And the pricing includes installation. So that quote came in at $65,217.76. And it includes all of the furniture that's in that brochure there. So there's 4 offices, and then out on the main lobby is where Renee, Kathy, and Rachel will be. So there's 3 workstations there, and then there's the council chambers in the middle.
Do we need any more furniture, or is that about what we need?
This will fill the new office.
So we need a motion?
Mm-hmm.
Should I make a motion to review the quote to purchase new furniture for City Hall off Sourcewell contract as Elaine Johnson stated for the total amount of...
Or can I make one correction there? It's off the state of South Dakota bid.
Oh, off the
that was a
state.
misprint on my behalf, but off the state bid. And the contract number is 17549.
7549.
Yeah.
Okay. State contract 17549.
Correct.
Off the state contract. For the amount of,
$65,217.76.
as stated.
Motion on the table.
Just one question. I'm assuming, I wasn't on council when we talked about moving to the building. This is included in the budget for that?
No.
No. This is,
The budget will have to be adjusted for all of this. We didn't include a lot of the stuff in the budget when we worked on it for a new building. So any of this stuff is going to have to be supplemented.
Mm-hmm.
We're not moving any of this furniture over there.
So
Do
these
some things.
tables will go into the conference room over there, but as for the office equipment, you'll keep file cabinets, and the police department is taking some of it too.
And will the council chambers be about the same size? Well, I guess I don't even know what it would look like.
Just laid it out up there.
Yeah.
This table would fit in there, just like it is today. The way we designed the office is so that there'd be more room in case we have like big crowds like this. We can move them back towards the southeast windows area, which would give us a little overflow. We've always, our other options always do it out of the library if we don't, but we would have to anticipate at least the same size crowd that we could have like this today. So.
So motion on the table.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? So this will come from, so we're entering into our budget window here in the next 30, 45 days, right? So, we'll find a line item and then.
So we'll just have to figure out the 24 budget.
Yeah.
Because it will be paid out in 24.
So it'd be against the 24 budget.
Mm-hmm.
what Elaine will do is she'll just do a supplement for this and probably the building, so that we can increase those areas that we didn't have budgeted, so. And we do have carpeting and things like that yet to do. We had all the painting done, we had all the walls
The
fixed
drywall
over
was
there.
all fixed, yeah.
The roof is finally fixed.
We've
hope so.
had Premier over there looking at us twice now, so. We hope it's fixed.
Further discussion? All those in favor of supporting the quote to purchase new furniture for City Hall off the Sourcewell contract, state bid 17549 at $65,217.76. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Elaine. Old business, resolution 2024-13, item 28.
In the council packet, there are three versions of resolution 2024-13. The first one is the original one that was originally presented. The second one is Mr. Rohr's changes, recommendations, and the third one is the South Dakota Municipal League revised their resolution and sent it out again.
You guys aren't the only ones wrestling with this, by the way. A lot of chat amongst cities, so.
And then,
I feel like you're told, yeah.
and then there's a letter to the executive director of the South Dakota Municipal League from the Freeburg Nelson and Ask office with their recommendations, and I believe that you had a hand in writing the revised resolution. Your office did.
Some of this council's concerns, but we've tried to feather them into the revisions that were there. Trying to soften it a little bit to being factual as opposed to persuasive. And I think the league still wants, a lot of facts. That's what they're permitted to do by state laws. Their communities are able to do. It's presented on a factual basis, and that's what came to the conclusion that this would be factual. As with Larry's, that's factual as well. So I think the concern that was expressed here last time was it said, vote, we encourage you to vote no on the resolution, and this simply says it's going to have a negative impact on the city's budget. Some people may think that's a good thing, some may not, so.
Well, I just have one comment. I believe Cal had an article on this, and I believe the chart was from the South Dakota Municipal League that had all the communities and the effects that they would have, and they matched these numbers. But then when you look at the bottom text on that, that wasn't for food and food ingredients only. So, where there's the ambiguity is what this actually covers. This is, because I've seen, listening to originally when this came out statewide, it was like 122 million or something. And then they revised it. If you start looking at some other things that could potentially be included in the human consumption, and it was massively larger than that. So I know that's something that's likely to be worked out if this passes in the legislature and in court, but that's, the 190 is probably the low end impact.
I just got one question. Did the state or the government or any of these public officials have a theory if we cut the food tax, where are they going to get the money from to replace it?
This is done by initiated measures, so it's simply saying that the tax on consumable goods is
it sounds great. It sounds great, but who's going to make up the difference to pay the bills that we spent the money on?
The initiative measure doesn't have any replacement revenue. It's just simply a modification of what sales tax can be collected, what items can be subject to sales tax.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Larry, do you have an opinion?
I like the short version. I'm not really sold on the impact of a resolution on this to begin with. I know we need to share information. I think an effort statewide to have city councils pass a resolution is free publicity in the legals in the newspaper. But so be it.
You're recommending your short version?
I would, because it's short and sweet and it's about the numbers. If y'all feel it's appropriate to have a resolution on this in the first place.
Well, I'll second that. If you want to make a motion, go ahead. Unless they want something else.
I would move version 2.
I mean, it's quick and fast, it's got the right numbers, I mean.
I think the language is shot make a motion.
Oh, yeah. Shot didn't make a motion. Version 2. But you're welcome to second it, my friend.
Okay, Shot seconded.
Motion and second on the table to approve version 2, Mr. Rohr's crafted version. Further discussion. Does the short version put us in any, because I mean, I understand Larry's line of thinking, this is, and the part that I really did into the first time was that Larry said, we don't want to put ourselves into a position where we're telling people what to do. And we're trying to provide facts and allow them to decide on their own. Does the shorter version, does it create any risk? Would there be anything that would, where someone would come back and say, I wasn't duly advised that there was going to be a reduction, and because some of these programs adversely affected, they have less available funds. The subsidies that we hand out, that would be one of those that.
In the last paragraph, it says the city would need to find revenue to make up for the shortfall.
And or cut expenses.
And on the short paragraph before that says it's our estimate of the number, because that's as good as we can do. This is a moving target throughout the year.
Well, I think one of the other things that maybe, not arguing for the longer version, but if you read the text of it, that may be confusing to individuals that are not actively following this, because it says right in there that the cities can continue to collect their sales tax. But now we're saying that we're going to have a reduction. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? From just someone who isn't keeping up on this, do we need an explanation that this is likely, or this is creates a conflict with state code that will have to be resolved somehow? I don't know.
In the research that you conducted on, revising the way that we're looking at this, is there an objective source of information out there on the web?
I think there's two sources. There's the vote no and vote yes.
Yeah.
And they're both going to tell you.
Yeah, depending on your search engine, depending on the time of day, and what you're,
I mean, there's a pretty large alliance of organizations that have formed in the vote no camp. The Retailers Association, the Municipal League, there's the Industry and Commerce Association.
Who's in the yes category?
It's led by Rick Weiland's group.
Yeah.
I can't remember what exactly their organization name is, but and I think their idea is no tax on groceries.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that was part of Governor Nome's attempt a couple of years ago that didn't get through the legislature, and I think that was the intent of this, and others feel that the scope may be much bigger as written than what was intended, but that's what that was presented in the initiated measure. So
I just wonder if there are ulterior motives about what's the second, third order effect. We're seeing groceries, we're hearing about groceries, but is this a play for something else?
Well, I heard quite a bit about the state tax too. I mean, every place I talked to that anybody had any input said they don't want to market tax, but if you leave it the way it is, they can live with it. The state tax, if they're set on a certain income, they're stuck. I mean, if they're on a certain dollar amount, their earnings, they're in a different position. So a lot of people I talked to said, they'd rather just leave it the way it is.
It's been an age-old argument in the state for.
Well, I'm just saying, Closer
Sales
to
tax
the-
versus income tax is what.
Has the yes column given an explanation as to why the ambiguity of what that's written?
I have not seen what they're arguing. I mean, I think they're just saying it's, they don't believe it's ambiguous.
I think to Larry's point too, I think this will be embedded in small language on the back page of the paper, and the number of readers would be.
Yeah, if we have a better understanding as a council and as city management leading up to the election of how this might more define the impact, I think it's important that we share that information.
Yeah.
So there could be information associated. So right now, motion and table in a second to support the shorter version 2. There would be opportunities between now and the election to objectively provide reference information so that people could effectively make a decision.
There may be, yeah. I'm not sure the legal notices are stacked up against Facebook, but
yeah,
I could be wrong.
Depends on the audience, Larry.
Yeah.
There are people that read those minutes.
Oh, I do as well. I do as well. And it's it's probably one, as part of a suite of the things you need to do to share information.
Right.
But I having reviewed that before, and even looking at the new one, when you start, to me there's a certain amount. The original version really pushed an intent, which I did not feel comfortable with, and you heard me talk about that. The updated version does have, it does kind of a deep dive into some of the definitions about some of these things, which in this case I don't think is necessary for what we're doing. We're talking about a budget number which we perceive to be just under 200,000. It's an estimate, and at the end of the day, yeah, we'll have to either deal with that with cuts or transferring or finding new revenue sources. And in this context, I feel that it sums it up. So,
further discussions, questions? We have a motion, second on the table to support version 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Version 2 is adopted. Dakota mainstream application 2, consider.
Now, last meeting when we had Troy Larson here, one of the things he had talked about was this Dakota Main Street. That could be another alternate source for us for water needs in the future. It's just getting started, just like Lewis and Clark did probably back in the early 1990s. So they've got a long ways to go, but they're all trying to tap into the Missouri River water system because that's obviously one of the largest sources available anywhere. So anyhow, I did some research, found out kind of a little bit about what it would cost us, and right now there's 10 of the 20 Lewis and Clark, 10 of the 20 members of Lewis and Clark have joined. For us to join, it would be $3,000 a year plus 25 cents per person, and based on 2006 census, that'd be $501.50. That would get us a seat on the board. I think that's what he was talking about. If you don't join, Lewis and Clark will probably join, but you're not going to end up with a seat on the board if you do go that route. So again, it's just kind of planning and looking at all the different options that may be on the board in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So. And I think one thing Troy did point out is that as a member of Lewis and Clark, you're going to have to decide at a certain time if you want to move forward with the Lewis and Clark, any additions, or if you want to wait for Dakota Mainstream to get in here. So he's pretty certain that 75% sure that Lewis and Clark is going to be moving ahead before Dakota Mainstream. So he doesn't want to guide you too far because Lewis and Clark will be joining and will still be available to us, and we may be able to join down the road. If we choose not to join right now, we'd just be out the seat on the board. So I'm going to put in your guys, if they want them back by September 1st, anyone that's looking to join. We really didn't receive much information on this yet, probably till the end of July. So that's when we just started kind of filtering through. Jeff sits on the board up there, so maybe you can add some more to it if you got more information than what I've talked about here.
Yeah, the only thing we got is a seat on the board.
by joining now. If you're not happy with, my opinion is Lucy Clark's gonna be on it anyway. And then we're just, we have to pay that per person charge. I think you can put it off now and join later if you want. You know, you saw that email from Troy here when he went through the history of when they started out, how many towns were on there, and how many had joined and then backed out.
Lewis and Clark, yeah, sure.
Yeah. You know, this is the same kind of thing.
Do you have any opinion? Is being an attorney per se better or worse, or is
I guess if you join now, your options are the most flexible you have. You can get in later, but you lose Jeff's on the board with Lewis and Clark. If you feel that's important and that becomes your secondary source of water supply, having a seat on the board is never a bad thing.
Well, my question to you is, okay, it's 3,025 cents this year. Down the road, who knows if it's 5,000 or 6,000, $1. I don't know. And
I don't think they've gone that far down the road.
Right, but my other question is, I'd rather have more options than less. You know, if we paid the 3,000 and the 25 cents, is that it for lifetime membership, or is it
annual per year, annual?
All per year. So
We've got an executive director that's kind of heading this thing up, so we're gonna pay someone to do all that.
Oh, so I'll probably try to see if we have an option to join in next year versus this year. Is it the same amount?
As it is right now, that's all we know.
Unless the board changes the amount.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm saying if we got the same option next year, I'll kind of go along with Jeff.
Jeff, did you say because we're part of the Lewis and Clark, we would have the 25% for resident charge anyway?
Yeah, we have.
So we're talking $3,000 difference.
They'd be paying that.
They'd be paying
that, and we would just owe that 25 per person.
Yeah, so eventually it would come back to us. So
yeah.
We wouldn't have to do that if we're
the 3,000 you said would come back to us?
No. The 25 cents per population. So we're gonna end up paying that one way or the other.
Yep.
So really the difference is the $3,000
to be really the money if it stays the same, or if it's the next round when they open it up it's going to be more. That gives Beresford a seat on the board versus Lewis and Clark's seat on the board and representing everybody.
So if we have our own, if we check sign on as a member, then we're not paying the Lewis and Clark's assessment.
We'll be taking care of our own. The 25 cents won't be going through. It'll get paid either way, whether we join now and we have a seat on the board, or Lewis and Clark sits for us. They pay that 3,000. We still owe the 25. 6 one half dozen the other. It's just a matter of if we want to see the board now or wait to see. Or
I was kind of looking at this as partnering with an advocacy group. Okay, we talked about Metro Alliance last week and joined that as an advocacy group, and with a description of the way Lewis and Clark has been an advocate for members, and even if we were hooked to this, it would probably be through a connection through Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
There is the seat on the board. I'm not sure that would make much of a difference with the track record that the Lewis and Clark membership has had with its members. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, well, with the connection with Metro, and we did have another presentation, about another advocacy group that might be more, economic development related. That topic, along with the topic of child care is one part of it, but with housing development, that we might be better off looking in that direction as opposed to this right now, because we got our hiney covered. And there's a good track record from the group that's doing it.
I was thinking that too last time when Troy was talking, just stick with the horse we're already riding. versus betting against the horse that we're. Right, because you're almost throwing money into buying a new horse at this point. Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. Troy Larson he's good at what he does.
Well, and I think he's right. I mean, they're existing. The chance of them, if they haven't proven that they're successful, they're going to get more funding. And as opposed to, you never know, you're just throwing money against the wall, hoping they get funding at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, that my opinion is to stick with Lewis and Clark and not join this, but one council member.
So do you see, you know, our position on the Lewis Clark board, is that valuable to the city? I mean, I realize that was, you know, different situation, but you have the direct input, so you know, if you have your concerns instead of running through a second body, I mean, that would be the.
So with Lewis and Clark joining main stem, Troy would be the.
Right.
So the directors of the 20 towns that belong to Lewis and Clark can drive him.
Right.
So, you know, and maybe not all the towns are, and there's already a bunch of towns that are on Lewis and Clark that have joined Dakota Main Stem now, but they're the ones that are, you know, I think Dakota Main Stem is like where Lewis and Clark was in 1990. I mean, they've got a long ways to go, they got a lot of hoops to jump through. I don't see why they joined this if they're looking for more water now, because Lewis and Clark is on the ground and running, and there's hoops that we don't have to jump through that, you know, that will move from 44 million gallons per day to 60, you know, by 2030.
Well, I think it's a lot of them, the ones that are around Sioux Falls that are anticipating tremendous amounts of growth, and with the Lewis and Clark, they might not have that available to them because they didn't reserve enough to begin, and they're already buying from other rural water districts and things up around Sioux Falls. So I think that's a lot of what you're seeing, a lot of those, and there's some other ones like Vermillion. I think they've jumped into on this Dakota Main Stream because they chose not to be. You know, I think they originally with Lewis and Clark and they dropped out. I think some of those communities wish they would have stuck it out like we did. So I think you're seeing a lot of it around Sioux Falls, Del Rapids are in there, and the Hartfords are in there. Those people that are really going to look at some growth between now and then. 30 years from now, they're going to wish they had that extra water that we're going to get through Lewis and Clark. So we'll sell it.
Yep.
Do we need a motion on this? I'll just no
If
action.
there's no action, you need a motion if you approve the application.
Sarah, your thoughts?
I kind of rely on the knowledge of others, and it sounds like maybe at this point it's not necessarily needed to get a seat at the table.
Pat? You agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I see like Jeff said, how long was it before the first stick of pipeline, after,
It's 22 years before when they started until we started getting water. We were one of the first.
it's a long process to get any of that approved, and
We're the first
I
one.
do think that the Lewis and Clark has a lot of advantages that, you know, they've got individuals in here, they have the right of way, they've got, you know, a lot of advantages, I guess.
Yeah, I just say we stick with Lewis and Clark, keep buying the maximum amount of water that we can. We'll sell it to everybody else that needs it, so we need it someday.
Makes sense, no action? Yep. Next on the agenda. Thanks, Jeff, appreciate that. Capital improvement plan proposal from ISG.
Well, Steve Watson was with us here a few meetings ago, and they had presented some information to you. And I got back in touch with Steve just to kind of give him an idea if we wanted to move forward with the project and see how they can do. They did what they call it, capital improvement plan. I've got Volga's here, it's about 250 pages long. I printed that out so the guy could take a look at that. They also did, I think they did about 10 of these. There was a grant program through the Governor's Office of Economic Development at the time, where the Governor's Office would help pay for half of those costs to certain cities that they would have had applied for it. Volga and Volbank are two that I know applied, and this is Volga's here. And so it's $30,000 if we want to move forward with some of that. A lot of the information that they have here relies a lot on studies that we've done over the years, any type of engineering projects that we've had looked at over time, putting those numbers back together and updating some of those numbers to include in the plan. Obviously, in this one here, they look at every truck, every piece of equipment, we own, all that kind of stuff too. And that's all stuff. We keep a pretty good record of everything we own. Elaine knows when we purchase it, how long they have it. Our guys do a pretty good job letting us know each time during budget time what we need to replace. We probably don't have a specific one, or there's nothing wrong with having a capital improvement plan, because it's a good planning tool is what it is, especially come budget time. I think each of our guys have a good list of what they need and when they need it, and then we take a look at that to see if it's this year or not, next year, whatever it is. And it seems like we always have something come up that wasn't budgeted, or something that comes up that we weren't really expecting to do, but it does happen. Kind of buying land for industrial development or borrowing money to somebody else so that they can move forward with some of the projects that we think are important in our community. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys what you want to do with that. If we want to rest on it a little bit, take a look at it. Like I said, it's a lot of the information we have. They just put it in a very nice format for everyone to take a look at. It's only as good as, if it sits on the shelf, it sits on the shelf for 5 years, and you have to update it again and continue to do that. So
the benefit of having them do it is still, if they're approached by an industry and they look at that industry's needs, and we already know what Beresford's got, that's gonna be a perfect fit for that community, and they're gonna push it towards us. Correct? Am I correct in this?
we do that already. I've got all that information. Every time we have a prospect come through, that's the first thing they ask is what our capacities are. And I run it by my department heads so they can kind of take a look at where they're at today rather than 5 years later. So we look at that every time when I put a request for information together for these projects. So it's something that we monitor on every time we look at it. We update all that information, see where we're at, what our water line sizes are, 8-inch, 10-inch, what they're going to need for sewer usage, and we've done all that stuff by that. So,
what if we budgeted it to do this with them next year? Because I don't know if we've got $30,000 sitting right now just to do this, but at least plan for it. Don't do it right now, but figure out where it fits in the budget for next year.
We'll take a look at it budget time. That's what we can take a look at. Now, that's what I would suggest you do. We don't have 30,000 budgeted this year to do that. So,
does BEDCO have a role in this? Because granted, BEDCO's mission is looking at the future state and economic development possibilities, kind of matching what we want to do to what we can do and how we're doing it. Part of this engineering plan, which is most of their products that I've seen thus far are highly visual, kind of paints the picture. I'm just wondering if BEDCO has a role, maybe not. Are there other entities within the community that could help determine, if we need this to help paint the picture of what future looks like? Because sometimes that's what people need, is they need a grand vision, right? Beyond just.
I believe that's part of the initial phases, is they have community meetings and sit down with interested parties and discuss, where that group feels the needs are, and that's part of what they take and put into their plan. Step one, kick off meetings with city staff and stakeholders.
So would we be in favor of budgeting it for next year and have them prepare this for us for next year?
And there's no push for
there's no push at all.
Grants or anything that require this.
No.
Okay. So no action tonight, but a plan for it next budget.
That's what I was good.
Okay.
All right, so next item on the agenda, proposed bike path along South 3rd Street to South 7th Street. Update.
Yeah, let's give you an update on that. Pat Carey, the banner came down, Mike Anderson with me, and I met with Brian Rajaness. He's a transportation planner, planning engineer from here, and he works with some of these trail programs in that grant. And Greg Rothschild, he's in charge of the Yankton area DOT, so Yankton oversees the Beresford area. So they both came down. We walked the site all the way from on Willow Street, where they're down by the baseball field by the high school, and we walked it back to the east over to 3rd Street, and then we walked it all the way up to the Catholic Church and took a look at all those things, and we walked it all the way back around over towards Halverson's, and then where it would intersect with the existing path over by 7th Street there. So we took a look at it. Very challenging. These guys said they said it's going to be a real challenge to get this thing engineered correctly because of different slopes and some of those kind of things. The path probably can relate to some of these that have a walking path that got federal dollars on. You can only have a certain amount of slope, like a 3% slope on that. And we have some real slope issues out there, especially going into some of the existing driveways as you go out there. Royal Sweeble, if you take a look at that one where he lives, that's going to be a real challenge if we move forward with that. So we're going to see that the whole way along. We've got a lot of some of our light poles probably are going to have a little tension, or we're going to have some either move them or do something with that we talked about. And we looked at a lot of all the other options of going across the road and bringing it back over on the south side of what's that called? What street is that? 298. We looked at that. They didn't like that at all because we're crossing the street too many times. We looked at even creating one of the lanes around the old center, the curve there, and seeing if we could just shut that off and then go back and just close that off strictly to houses and the bike path only through there. Again, you got the slope issue, so you have to tear it all out and restart it, so that probably wouldn't be an option either. So our best option was just keeping along the road as close as we could, trying to create at least a 2-foot barrier between the existing road and any new path, creating some type of a boundary. It could be concrete or something like that maybe just a colored concrete on there to kind of separate the two, and then go on the rest of the way down. The one thing he did stress very highly is that you're going to have to have good support of the community for this, because these are tough to get. They're very competitive. You're going to have a lot. If you got people in that area that are totally close to it, that's going to make a big difference to the people that are going to be listening to the arguments for or against this, because they're going to want to have 100% support of the people out there. Did you get that too? Did you think that was pretty much what he's telling us? So, and I don't know if there's 100% support out there right now. And secondly, I've heard just a little conversation about why should all the people in Beresford pay for this path when the people out there shouldn't have to put sidewalk in, but they should put their own sidewalk in and using that as a path. So that'll be the other argument that I can see anyhow going forward. So it's not a lay down deal. It's a very, very competitive process. The grant applications are due by October 1st. Right now, we have an estimated cost about $380,000, with the city paying. That's 18% of that cost, or $68,590. Obviously, one of the biggest payers would probably be the Catholic Church, and I don't know if you can get all the Catholics to agree that they should pay a pretty good chunk of that. So I have a feeling no. I'm just guessing at this point in time. But they'd have to be on board in order to make this thing work. So it would all be done in the public right away, but someone's got to pay for that shit. So.
Well, what's the process to start it? We don't know until we ask.
We'll have to have them move. We'll have to approve moving forward with the grant. Well, all we've had right now is just a letter of intent. They came down and took a look at it. The grant would be due by October 1st, so we'd have to go ahead and, if we're all in agreement here, that we move forward with the grant request. I guess the worst thing they do is they'll turn us down, or else they'll grant it to us, and then we turn around and say, well, we didn't have the support that we thought, and we'll end up denying. Just say, hey, thanks for looking. Give the other guys that put their name in there first, and we'll take a look at it. So
I'll make a motion to move ahead with applying for the grant.
Motion on the table.
Second.
Further discussion. Have we, like Mike, you're obviously involved in this conversation. Have you taken the temperature of your neighbors?
Talk to some of them.
Yeah.
To talk to 100%.
I mean, like you guys in Albertsons are in a position where you've got kids that ride that road that would be, they take advantage of this, whereas McKelvey's grandparents, obviously now, but a little bit different stage in life. I don't know what Dennis and Kelly would.
I think what we'll probably do is just inviting those people to maybe not a city council meeting, maybe a committee meeting of some sort, with our engineers, sit down and talk about it, and invite, maybe the DOT guys up to take a look at it, and our gal from CCOG will come in, and then we can sit down and kind of run through it, because we do not want to surprise anybody with this, because, it come up pretty quickly. We've been thinking about it for a long time, how to get people around. It just happens to be that there's money available this year. I think there's $8 million available, and it's typically geared towards smaller communities. So we have a pretty decent chance of getting something. I guess that 600,000 is the maximum, so we'd be probably in that same area.
Holding meetings is probably the right way to go.
Yeah, that's what we'd have to do now. I think that's what they want to know, make sure there's enough, the temper here is good enough before we move on to the next level. So.
I do know that Councilor Volpe and I spoke this evening, and he's very interested in participating in this discussion because he believes there's some opposition, but we want to be able to, if we can counter that through conversation or at least talk through it, that would be the right thing. So,
yeah.
Further conversation, questions? Motion second on the table to support the application for the bike path expansion along South 3rd Street to 7th Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, last item in old business, South Dakota Highway 46 expansion. Need to move electric facilities along East 13th to South Dakota Highway 46.
Did you get everybody in that?
I think you couldn't have it, no.
Speaking of that,
Freshen everybody's mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, sorry,
So, more or less, they came to us and told us that it had to be moved. Then they came back and said it didn't have to be moved. Now it's gotta be moved again. More or less right there where kind of holding it upright where you can read it, where all the cars are piled up there. That's where the big monster pile of asphalt is right now.
around Beresford.
They're widening that ditch. And the poles are in, we have it surveyed, and the poles are in the right of way, so it's on us. No, there's no help from the state to move it. So we have a few poles in there that have to be moved. And the easiest way to do it is probably, or the best way to do it is just underground it. Because by getting rid of that small stretch there by that asphalt pile, creates issues across the road at Woody's apartments over there. So Kyle has gotten easements in place from Woody to place some equipment over on his property, and then go down on Boomers and come across by the trailer court over there, and then underground the part that's in front of Woody's over to that existing line in the ditch on the way out to Legends. We had to move a small section out by Legends Gold where it comes across the highway, jogs over, and goes up Legends Gold driveway. We just finished that up today. But yeah, there was 4 poles in the way on the north side of 46 there that were in the right of way as well. So they were kind of waiting for us to do their drainage plan out there until we got that done. So they are giving us till, they said they'd like to have it all done by early spring, and then they can come back in and finish all the work, widening that ditch out and everything.
Which would have a big change from what we originally were told. I mean, they were told us it's got to be done within weeks.
Yeah.
We didn't have none of that equipment or nothing.
And you've got to get the stuff you need before that?
I think we can, yeah, we'll have to work on some of that, but for the most part, material is, one piece of equipment is 25 weeks out, but we have one on hand that we'll use, and then we'll just budget to replace it in this year's plan. But what we would propose is having a contractor come in and getting all the road bores and everything done for us. And then we'll come in the spring or late fall, depending on what time, when everything will get done. And then pull cable, set everything, and terminate, get everything cut over to the underground. We do have to remove some trees along the west side of that apartment building there, but.
How deep are you gonna bury your power line?
We'll probably be in that 5 feet range, then under the roads, whatever it needs to be in.
You gonna bury it all or just part of it, or?
Everything you see red will be buried out there.
How busy is that right away with other utilities?
Busy. It's packed. And there's water sewer over there behind Woody's. That's where that 46 project went through, the Blue Peak now. They were going down 46, they had to relocate, they went a mile south. And then went down 298 and then came back. But
So
that's
this
all.
new line, is this gonna be outside of right away, or is it gonna be in right away?
Well, outside on part of it. Right there where the asphalt pile will be in the right of way.
Cause they widened that right away, at least in the intersection.
They bought extra right of way from the property owners there on that corner where that asphalt pile's sitting. So we'll be in the right of way there, and once we cross the highway, then we'll be on private property.
Then going out to Legends, is that still gonna be poles? You'll come back up to poles?
Back in the fence line, they'll go poles once we get past it. The picture doesn't really show up, but right at the top of that picture, it'll have a jog back over the fence line, and then that'll be right on the edges right away.
Okay.
And that'll stay overhead going out there.
Okay.
And then we went underground under the highway and then over and went up the driveway a little ways. So we had to get that off the road.
So we're requiring easements going south.
We have to get easements to do that?
To go on the private side, yeah.
There's not a lot of room on the east side of 13th Street there, once you get south of Woody's.
And have we gotten permission from all the others for easements or talked to them?
Woody's we have, Bloomers are sitting at their lawyer's office. Have not heard back. They haven't, there's a trust and 4 kids and moms in the nursing home, so it's and not a simple task, let's put it that way. Probably for their benefit, frankly, in the end of the day.
Yeah.
Get rid of those poles.
So we were kind of waiting to see if some of those poles were going to be on the private side, and none of them were. So.
Okay.
We've got no choice in the matter.
You don't have a choice.
This is just information.
It's you know, it's a big expense that we went.
So we're gonna be bringing it out then a little bit more, I know about the bid of that out, so.
Yeah, I would like to
authorize advertising bids too.
I would like to do that with the other projects that we have going. Get that part done, then we'll come in and do all the rest of the work.
So you'll probably see this on the agenda several times in the next 3-4 weeks, or meetings.
I should have Dennis will get us
Yeah. I would think
So
the
plans to do the boring stuff.
This was just as kind of a rough plan to show you guys.
Okay. Thanks for the info.
Maybe an improvement, but not in the time frame that was
No.
the plan.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. New business, Lewis and Clark Regional Water System final trip due September 30th, 2024.
We've, since Lewis and Clark's been built, we've been carrying a balance with them that was still due, and we've been paying on that as we go, and I think we still have 7 years that we've been paying it off. The problem is, every year it comes back, seems like the cost goes up about what we're paying on, we were trying to pay $20,000, it seems like it'll go up $20,000, so we're gonna go ahead and we just wanna let you know that we're paying it off, it's in the bills already. But we should have a motion to authorize paying the $136,308.32, then we'll go out of the water fund, so it may overdraw some bit, but we'll figure that one out later on, so. Once we get everything else in order here, so.
You want a motion?
Yeah, we do.
Chad makes a motion, Lewis and Clark Regional Water System final tune-up due by September 30th, 2024, as Jerry Simon stated, amount is
$136,308.32.
as he stated.
Motion on the table.
Second.
Motion is second to authorize the Lewis Collector and Water System final true up due to September 30th, 2024 in the amount $136,308.32. Any further discussion?
Jeff, why does that keep going up every year?
Is this like an interest rate?
Indexing. That's what I always hear, so.
Yeah. Convenience fees.
And we made 2 payments that didn't even put a dent in it.
Oh, it went up one time.
Yeah.
$20,000.
to buy a mystery ticket master.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's approved. Change order number 2 for Beresford wastewater treatment facility improvements.
We've got a change order request from Banner. There's some issues in one of the Sager cells, I guess is what we're gonna call. There's 4 cells in the Sager system. 3 of them are working perfect at this time as far as what they're intended to do. They can't move forward with any of the project if there's water that seeps into these Sager systems. So they have to be completely dry in order for them to do the needed work in there. And this one, they've got, they think there's either a sand type, a vein of sand or something where the water is falling into that area. They can't get it dried out. They've been trying it, and even when we had all the dry weather, they couldn't get the thing to dry out. There's water. They get it taken out. The next day they come back and be full of water again. So in order for us to correct this, we have to spend a bunch of money, which I guess Geotech did a lot of the site work around there, and they drilled a lot of test holes everywhere, and none of the holes in this area came up with this one little vein of sand that goes through there. So this is what we got anyhow. In order to keep moving forward, we need to do this so that we're not delayed any further in getting the project done. So anything else, Jeff, that you took in on that deal?
They got the clay dug out, and they've been putting the sand in, so.
Yeah, so I mean, we basically have to do it if we want to continue on with the project the way it is.
So how much more is that gonna cost?
$39,687.60.
So that's what we gotta make a motion for?
Have they identified the leak area or?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if they know exactly how that water's getting in there. They wouldn't be able to stop it if they knew exactly where it was outside of putting a pump in that spot. But, so they dug it out and then they were putting sand in today as they went, and then put that frame up, and then you guys can put that rubber bladder in there. They needed it dry for welding those seams on that.
They will not weld unless it's completely dry in there. So they're gonna guarantee anything at that point.
And this is gonna fix the problem?
It's supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
Clay, they dug that out today and put the sand in, and
Shall make a motion for change order number 2 for Beresford wastewater treatment facility improvements for
$39,687.60.
as the mayor stated.
Second.
Motion is second on the table to authorize the change order number 2 for Beresford wastewater treatment facility improvements at a cost of $39,687.60. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Part-time hire for the Bridges Clubhouse.
I'd like to hire Megan Boom at $11.20 as a bartender server. It should be a part-time worker throughout the winter.
Make a motion for part-time hire Megan Boom at $11.20 per hour, starting
As soon as you can work around the schedule.
as soon as she can put on the schedule.
Second.
Motion is second on the table to hire Megan Boom at $11.20 per hour as soon as possible. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Accept resignation Jennifer Clever, Beresford Public Library. Jennifer gave her resignation. It's included in the packet. Oh, moving.
Oh, yeah, I talked to Jean, she said, once we get done with resignation, then she'll come back and have something published.
Do we need to formally accept her resignation?
I think she was more permanent part-time than our other ones. She was worked over 20 hours a week, so she had qualified for some benefits, things like that, so.
So we do need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept resignation from Jennifer Cleaver, Beresford Public Library.
Second.
Motion second on the table to accept resignation from Jennifer Cleaver, Beresford Public Library. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
So if we deny that, you gotta keep working for it.
Discussion. Yeah, sorry, if you just let her know through text that her intent to resign was declined.
I think Jane would be thrilled.
Last time, new business discussion on what do the city hall and council chambers have to remove. Do we have a move date yet? Or a move window? No, okay. So kind of wait
Just
till
waiting
things fall in
on
place.
carpet installation and furniture and, yeah, hopefully before the snow flies.
It's supposed to, it was 80 degrees today, it was pretty warm, so talking about snow is.
Yeah.
Incorporated into the chamber's fall parade.
You guys should have done that.
Oh, yeah.
Grab
Pick up a
something.
box, move it down.
Should have done it before kids went back to school. Summer out.
Yeah.
Well, we can.
We have all this extra city staff. They're both speaking on behalf of us.
My football team would probably get them to come out.
Just pay them as much as they got to move tires on the sewage silage pile, and they'll gladly show up.
I think they got paid well.
Very
It's a very nice donation.
Yes.
We're starting to get inquiries, and so we thought we'd better start talking about what we want to do, so. I guess the option is kind of like, we talked a little bit about, different things
Get
we
them
can do.
appraised or you can auction them. This one. You do have a restriction, your agreement with First Dakota is that you wouldn't sell these buildings to a financial institution. So that was part of the negotiations for that building at the price that the city purchased that was that they weren't gonna allow one there, so they said, well, it would make a lot of sense to sell it to you and then you turn around and sell it to one of the competitors. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind as you discuss what you want to do with this.
Do we have financial institutions asking about this?
We had one
person that told, oh, I had a bank lined up to come. Oh. So, well, there's other property in town.
So is this, I guess I never looked, is there upstairs at all on this, or either one? It's all basements?
Pretty good sized open area up here.
There's an upstairs
Here.
here.
Okay, I wasn't up there.
That's like 4 floors.
It's all open up here.
This would be sold with vaults. I guess. Are those vaults used?
Well, we got the stuff stored, and that's about it. The cost to remove them was kind of prohibitive, so that's close to $10,000 to get it out of there.
It's a big gun safe.
Oh, future business idea, if that, don't put a gun store here, it'd be very popular.
And the buildings could be sold separately again.
That'd be easy to
seal up.
Yeah.
Put back into.
Is the HVAC separate or is it
Yes,
on? Okay.
it's separate. Yeah, that's why we're freezing right now.
The options that exist are auction, sealed bid.
You have to get it appraised, so.
There will be an appraisal fee.
You can just sell to a real estate
To a real
agency too, if you want to. They just have a minimum to get accepted, I assume.
Yeah.
An online auction, I suppose, if you wanted to. We didn't have real good luck on this.
I was gonna say that worked out so well for us on that.
Well, didn't have many bidders on that one over there, so.
It's kind of a unique property, so it's something that's
That one might be harder.
What's that?
That one might be harder.
Right.
It's really chopped up. But
Does art come with the
All
sale?
space is just not one usable space.
right. Right.
I can put a few dollars in the bank. I don't carry a lot of money. But here's a couple stacks.
No, jeez. We went there.
I have to start digging in my yard. It's not easy.
Do you need any direction tonight or just?
Well, we'll talk about it. Everybody take it home with you, think about it. I think we got a few months yet, so.
So the options
I learned no hurry.
Okay.
The process we've used in the recent past has been successful.
We haven't really sold a lot of property.
And more of the buying end. Of the
No.
sale.
Got it.
No. I can't remember last time we ever sold property, really. Other than through our development groups.
Yeah, that'd be a different option.
You gotta get an appraiser first, so I know step one. Step two, no other bank can come in, and then step three is probably a minimum bid, otherwise you're not gonna sell it.
I feel like a lot of the residential property count is stagnant. I haven't seen a lot of sales recently. I mean, I know there's a lot of individual sales that have gone on. I say a lot, there's been a few. But I do see a lot of for sale signs that have been in certain spots for it. That's residential property, this is different. Commercial, but.
Buildings downtown don't come up for sale very often, however, there is one just down the street. So, I mean, that gives you an idea that one's on the market, like, probably for a couple months anyhow.
At least.
Which one is it? It's the
Irish twins.
Irish twins.
Oh, okay.
That's been on the market. I think it's been 6 months.
Is it long, that long? I don't know if they're listed through a realtor at all, or they just try to sell it on their own. I see there's a for sale sign in the window, but it looks like just a regular for sale sign.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't
Well,
look
maybe
like
the listing expired, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right, so our homework is review options for potential sale.
We can't put anything on there as far as what type of business we want. I mean, that's not gonna happen, so. There's not some kind of talk about that, so.
Do the neighbors, so they bought that property, or somebody else bought that property?
Sam did.
Sam bought it from Butch, and then Sam owns upstairs, downstairs. Do they have any, would they have any right to the first potential buyers, or no?
No more than anyone else.
Okay. Because they expressed interest not necessarily in this property, but the space behind this property. And so, for a potential patio area for the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have to think about that, what that does to this property, then if you don't have rear access.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that one's sold, and their only access was the front door, that's not gonna be a real good selling point, if you can't get on the back door and park back there.
Right.
This is your build of business. Especially in the winter time.
Is there a door back here?
Mm-hmm.
In this side?
Yeah.
So the decisions we need to make are the method by which we would dispose, some of the parameters, which some are set forth.
Values, yeah. I think we could, yeah, we can get, three of the realtors in town, we probably sold commercial stuff. Get them together, and we'd at least have a couple options. We're not good right across here, those didn't sell very high, so I don't know what the appraise this at. We paid, what did we pay, 48 for this, I think? We probably got about that into it. With all the remodels and the handicap accessible restrooms and some of the things that we've done here, the door, painting, lights.
Freeburg Nelson and Ask isn't expanding.
No.
Perfect.
They've got an empty upstairs. Can flow up to, so.
Well, good news there.
Do you guys get an office down here, downtown? Are you thinking an office downtown? It used to be, Free Republic used to be in here.
Yep, they're looking.
There you go.
No, interesting. I wonder if factoring in some of the input from our new chamber members about, because they're, one of the things they mentioned tonight was drawing business downtown. Obviously, that would be one thing we'd take into account, but what are the kinds of things that would be attractive to revitalize downtown?
I think that's what leads it too. Yeah. It leads it. That was one of the big, when we moved over, that was one of the things we talked about was that this is going to open up an opportunity for a couple small businesses to come in into a building that would be probably somewhat affordable for them, rather than try to build something of this size and at the current cost.
So no action.
I think the chamber could definitely try to lead as far as the type, trying to contact and maybe put that out on social media that we have 2 business buildings for sale right downtown Beresford.
Yeah.
If they want to say looking for this, this, and this, that's up to them.
So no implied action, homework, and engage chamber for both information gathering and socialization. All right. Discussion items, information on Lewis Park Regional Water System Treatment Plan and Wellfield Tour opportunities.
If you haven't been on it, I've been on it a couple times. It's I guess you get to find out where water comes from. You go down and take a look at it. It's quite a facility. Very automated once you get in there, but it's worth a 2-hour tour if you have time. So anyone that wants to go, just get a hold of me and I can tell if you'd like to come down and visit. You can pick out either of those times if one of those days works for you.
To be part of those other tours.
Yeah. And Troy he does an excellent job taking it around, so.
It's impressive.
We're still serving lunch.
One is,
you got enough of gas there.
September 13th, you get lunch, Art.
Where's it at?
I went to quite a few of
The
them.
treatment facility down.
There's some pretty good lunches.
Okay.
They'll take you down to the bridge down there, the crosses of the Vermillion and Newcastle Bridge. That's where all the water comes from.
But they'll go through the treatment plant.
They'll take you both.
On Friday.
All right, that's
just email me and I'll let them know if you're gonna go or not.
good.
So we don't send over 3 or 4 of you down there at the same time, right? Tom?
Right. 3 in the mayor, or
It's open meeting.
no more, right?
Yes. In order to stay out of hot water, you will abide by open meeting laws. All right, next meeting Tuesday, September 3rd, due to the Labor Day holiday. Okay, so do we need
That's automatic.
information only? Approval of travel requests, so SDML Annual Conference Sioux Falls, South Dakota, October 8th to 11th, Johnson, Zimet, Shirk, City, Atkinson, and Hydrant.
You can do both at the same time.
Okay, Law Enforcement Training Center, training August 2023, peer-to-peer depreciation.
Make a motion. The travel request.
Motion and a second on the table to approve the travel request. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Travel requests are approved. Payment of the bills.
I'm gonna make a motion to pay the bill.
Motion.
Sounds just like Troy, doesn't it?
It does.
Why? We took a couple of these,
Is this
see how
supposed to
he
be
handled it, you know?
Yeah.
Make it, made the motion.
Oh,
Mrs.
sorry.
Boone makes the motion.
There you go. Revise my script.
Okay.
Motion and second on the table to pay the bills. All those in favor say aye. Any further business with council? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.